People deluded, I'm back again. Now, Manchester City is a wonderful football club in terms of forward thinking, in terms of academy recruitment. Every player I look at myself, I'm just in my bedroom doing this, as you know, as a hobby. Every time I look at sick players or sick young players or players with potential, Manchester City's name has been linked. Manchester City have had a trial. Manchester City have ran the rule over him, or Manchester City have signed him. City do their work. There's a lot of great coaches at City. I mean, scouts and coaches. But the one for me is Joe Shields. Now, Joe Shields is a man I'd love to meet. I'd love to, if I could have a fraction of the talent Joe Shields had in the scouting thing, I'll be all right, man. You know, he's great work. He's done great work initially at Palace and Fulham, I believe, all around Thornton Heath and South London. And yeah, man, South London is a hotbed of talent, and he's able to help City capitalise on that. And just for himself, he's a hallmark in football for me, anyways. And scouts don't normally get held up and stuff, because you see Jadon Sancho, you see him playing at the under-17s, you see, and rightly so, he's the one playing, you see him as a full England international living the dream, but nobody talks about the person that saw him. Now, Joe Shields clearly wasn't the first to see him because he was at Watford before, but who's the reason he went to City? Joe Shields. They paid initially a couple of thousand, I believe it was 88. I'm not a transfer man, so don't quote me. But now he went for an initial 8 million. Now, obviously, when you consider what Jadon Sancho could potentially be worth just as a result of being a good player, £8 million doesn't sound like anything, but it's a tidy profit. So shout out to Joe Shields. You look at, again, Rabbi Matondo, formerly of Cardiff, allegedly joining Schalke with a buyback option from Manchester City. And he's had a standout season at under-23 levels, finding the back in net. He's obviously been capped by Wells, and he can play up front as well as the wings. And Manchester City know better than me where he ends up, but he is a very good player. In fact, he showed it against Arsenal. I'm so sure one of the first 2 weeks of the season against us at under-23s. Obviously, for one reason or another, he's deemed that he's learned all he can at City, or he wants to progress and get first team. We all know the bridge is hard in professional football, and I know Foden gets chances. You're seeing Nemecha, played well against Arsenal at under-23 level, and obviously made his debut. His brother Lucas Nemecha went out on loan, but used to get chances. You're seeing Garcia, Bernambe. There's a couple, man. You know these guys that get talents, but if we're honest, none of these young players are really. It's not really a thing of one of these young players progressing from cities and he's gone into the first team. We know Foden's there, but he's not really there in that. If Pep had a must-win 5 to 10 games right now at this moment in time, if Liverpool and him were literally a point, whenever someone wins, they go ahead. Would Foden necessarily be in a stronger team, rightly or wrongly? And that's not me getting at Foden's ability. I've sat here and watched him develop. I love him. It's just, one, it's the dynamic, and two, it's how possible is it with City creating this dynasty, 100 points and things like that, and they've got some of the best players in the world. It's near enough impossible. You've obviously got Tyler Richards as well. Another one on the cusp of first team at City, was on the bench against Burton, didn't get off it. Formerly of Fulham, a winger, a wide man, can play in a couple of positions, got pace, got creativity, got it all. These are 3 men that have joined Manchester City, and for them it's great actually, because they were always respectively at Fulham, Cardiff and Watford. Again, no disrespect to any of them clubs, I'd love to work for all 3 of you, but probably became big fish in small ponds in that there's obviously other talented players, but they're the standouts. They go to Manchester City. I forgot to say Diaz obviously went to Madrid, but obviously when they go to City, that's the only reason they're there. Okay, cool. You've got mad talent. You've got potential to be a world-class player. That's why you're here. Cool. 100 people got it. You ain't special. So obviously Matondo might have, let's use Matondo, he might have come from Cardiff and Wales, the bee's knees. He goes to Manchester City. There's definitely an uptake in coaching and improving him as a player. He's going to improve him, which he has, putting him in better stead to move on. But he goes there. He sees Jadon Sancho. They've both got talent. They've both been banging it for their respective clubs, but they're there because they're great players. And Tyler Richards, and they're all essentially competing for the same spot. That means you're going to have to be more competitive in training. That means you're going to have to train harder. That means you're going to have more emphasis on your development. That competitive nature improves players, and it's no doubt it's no surprise why City and probably Chelsea have the best academies and have the most competitive academies. Now, we know there's never a direct correlation between doing this at youth level and moving on. Ironically, both of them clubs, for as much as they do, and they have both probably have the most standout academies in the land, there's no correlation between the first team. You look at Arsenal and United, 2 clubs who probably care about youth players more. Our academies are nowhere near theirs too. But you can bet that Mason Greenwood is going to get chances. Chong's got chances. Gomez will get other chances. You look at Arsenal as well. I don't need to name all the several players. I'm not getting at City. City have given their players chances. But you've got to wonder the dynamic as well, because on Jadon Sancho, Richards and Matondo, if I'm them, I would have went to City as well, because you would have left the big fish at a big small pond. You'll always get a Premier League move as well, even if you don't hit your potential. That's one for the hype people. But you're going to Manchester City, better training facilities, better playing squad, so that's going to improve you. Better way of doing things. Like, so that's an opportunity you can't necessarily turn down. Everybody can see it as that, okay, you're going to City with 1,000 players and you might not get a chance. Okay, cool. And a lot of that's right, but you don't talk about the training aspect, the way they care about players, the way they can improve you just away from being a footballer as well. It's not easy to turn down, so I get it. But by the other stretch of the imagination, if Jadon Sancho did stay at Watford, Richards did stay at Fulham, Matondo did stay at Cardiff. Ironically, all three of these teams are in the Premier League, and they're all of these ages. Would they have been? They probably would have been playing Premier League football on the cusp, or the standout sort of players within the academy. I mean, within the first team, similar to, you know, how Morgan Gibbs-White is playing football more or less for Wolves. Would that have happened for them? It's easy for me to sit here and say this, but you have to quantify things. And this just goes back to me saying, I don't believe, honestly, people, there's no right or wrong way of doing things in football. I would always just tell young players, do what you need to do in it. Do what you feels good in your heart, and do what you need to do to get to a point where you're looking back when you're 35 and you think, oh, I took that opportunity for better or worse. It was because of me. You don't think about what could have been. You can't blame other people, because these young footballers have it hard. Everybody builds them up to failure. That when they're 14 to 16, everybody loves them. Nike, Adidas, Puma, all these people are fighting over them to get them down on sponsorship deals. Everybody's in love with them on Instagram and things like that. And then obviously people, if they don't hit potential, people the same people that hype them up the most were the ones that helped them, were the ones that engineered their failure of sorts. So it's a tough one. There's no right or wrong way of doing things as well. It's obviously a bit different, but you look at Dirishan as well. He obviously left after joining Manchester City. He went to Hertha Berlin and he's been getting chances as well. So yeah, man, I think City give chances to their players. Probably a bit overstated to a degree, but yeah, I just have to wonder, because two of these players, well, Sancho's left, Rabbi Matondo allegedly is on the verge of leaving. The club would have made profit and things like that, but you have to wonder, like if they stayed at their respective clubs, like you look at Ryan Sessegnon, could that have been Tyler Richards as well? You look at, well, Watford ain't really bringing a few players, but Kenya's getting chances. Well, Jadon Sancho for me is too good to ignore, so I think he would have got chances eventually. Matondo, if he was at Cardiff, I don't rate any of them players at Cardiff, so I definitely think he'd be starting week in, week out. So who knows, people, to be honest with you. But good discussion nonetheless, or I hope it's been. On that note, though, I'm going to get out of your hair. So people, deluded, stay safe, stay deluded, my deluded nation, I'm out.